Hello all, Sique here, and welcome to The Path to Unpunishable, Part 2, The Mouth of Many. So tell me, whose words echo in your head when the room goes quiet? As at 52 years old, as I write this, many of those words now sound like my voice, but they didn't start out that way. And for decades, identifying the original speakers felt like opening the door to trauma I was not ready to unpack. Over time, and with professional help, I learned the truth. These are the words of a parent who believed embarrassment was a moral failing. The words of advertising that insisted my body and my life, my hair, and my interest was inadequate. The words of people who didn't understand why anime saved me and why playing role-playing games felt like freedom. And those voices were loud, insistent, and uninvited. So why does the mouth of many matter as a card? Well, much like the mirror card, the mouth of many exposes the voices that shaped you long before you knew you had a choice. These voices don't belong to you, but they sound like the truth because you heard them early, often, and enforced with conviction. People you loved fought hard, and they hurt others and destroyed things to defend those words with such intensity that you believed them. And going against them felt like a betrayal, even when your spirit knew better. Hell, even when your common sense knew better. This card matters because it identifies the internal bully you never hired. It asks whether you are still it's asking you if you're still torturing yourself with language designed for someone else's comfort. It invites you to consider what your life could sound like if only the words you used were your own. Words chosen with intention and not inherited through fear. And I want to clarify a bit to let you know that these can be words of encouragement, but they can also be words of conviction. They can be words of discipline, but for your reasons and kind to you with the accurate knowledge of who you are. And an accurate knowledge of who I am is the reason why I chose the image of talking flowers and floating TV screens, because it's not just the metaphor, it's the story of my childhood. I grew up in a house where television was always on, and I watched a lot of it. And as a Gen Xer, unsupervised media consumption was a lifestyle. You know, you always hear about how Gen Xers, no one supervised our reading. That's why I was 4th grade reading Stephen King, and I had been up to date to Stephen King at that point. And folks were reading Flowers in the Attic. It wasn't my type of book, but I did read a lot of feminism during that time as well. Anyway, unsupervised media consumption was a lifestyle, and my mother took me to R-rated movies like they were Saturday matinees, and I had free reign of the video store. As long as I didn't go into the part where they had behind that curtain, I was fine. I could pick everything, and I did. Another inspiration is the movie Network. It shaped me as much as Saturday morning cartoons, The Three Stooges, Godzilla movies, and Superhouse, and Big Chuck and Lil Jon. Screens were my babysitters, my teachers, and my mirrors. The lips in the artwork are a bit more personal because they belong to the women at church who told my mom to throw away my gaming books because Dungeons & Dragons was the devil and made me look unrighteous. I grew up in the very midst of the satanic panic that you see on Stranger Things. That was a real thing, and they handled it like real news. I swear to you, it was crazy. But apparently the R-rated movies were spiritually neutral, I guess. I also lived at a time before PG-13. Their lips were painted and pursed and poisonous. I love my alliteration here. They were also potent. And they shaped their words like commandments. and being seen as righteous was a big thing, especially being raised one of Jehovah's Witnesses. So it makes sense that in the garden of my mind, memories sprout as TV screens playing on loop, flashing words that are the essence of what people think of me. Flowers bloom with oversized 70s funk album lips, right? Spewing judgment, and fear disguised as concern. Every petal carried an opinion, every vine threatened to suffocate. And yet, gardens can be pruned. It took years of clearing and weeding, reprogramming and reparenting before my inner landscape became calm. Not silent, but safe-ish. Safe enough for my own voice to grow. So, when we're looking at the mouths of many through the lens, what do we see? Well, empathy teaches you to listen. Even when the voices are unworthy, you receive them with your whole heart because that is who you are. Tender, attentive, and open. And then truth clarifies that not every voice deserves a seat at your table. Some voices never offered wisdom. They were offering control. And once you know this, the spell breaks. Pew. Kindness allows you to step back without cruelty. You don't have to burn the past to stop breathing its smoke. It allows you to separate and see where the wisdom was and where the fear was, and that's a good skill to have. Antigreed exposes how many people took more of you than they ever returned. Some voices demand too much. They demand your confidence and your joy and your possibility without offering nourishment or encouragement or courage back. Joy whispers that silence is not absence. It is peace making a home inside you. And we'll talk about this more in the inner house. Joy teaches you to savor the quiet where your real voice emerges. Soft at first, but always unmistakable. The lens turns the cacophony into a discernible pattern, and in that pattern, you will find your power. The mouth of many teaches you that inherited voices is not inherited destiny. Just because a voice has lived in your head for years doesn't mean it belongs there. This card is a reminder that repetition is not truth, it is merely persistence. This card teaches you to recognize the difference between guidance and intrusion. It shows you how easily others' fears and prejudices, insecurities, how they all masquerade as advice. And it teaches you to question yourself, does this voice help me grow, or does it keep me small? Or does it keep me safe for what happens when I do grow? The mouth of many also teaches resilience. When you identify a voice that isn't yours, you weaken its influence. And when you answer that voice with your own, you reclaim territory in your mind that was colonized long before you knew how to defend it. And it might feel shaky, and you might be afraid that you're doing something wrong or you're going to get in trouble. Don't listen to that. This card teaches you that the most sacred sound you can trust is the one that rises from within, the one that loves you, not the one that manages you. So, to become unpunishable, you must separate the chorus from the self. To hear your own voice and to trust it. Punishment thrives where confusion reigns. When you cannot tell your voice from the voices that raised you, shaped you, praised you, and weaponized you. The mouth of many asks you to become fluent in your own eternal landscape. To turn down the volume of those who never understood your calling, to mute the voices that mistake obedience for virtue, to curate the inner soundtrack of your life with intention. When the only voice that can judge you is your own, and when your voice has learned how to love you, punishment loses its audience. So as we close out, I'd like to share this blessing with you. Imagine a garden where the loudest flowers fall silent, where screens dim, where the voice that once crowded your mind dissolves into background hum. In that quiet, your true voice steps forward, gentle, confident, and unshaken. May your inner garden become a sanctuary. May the lips that once accused you lose their power. May your mind become a place where your own words take root and bloom. And may the mouth of many become the chorus you outgrew, not the one that you obey. Amen. Talk to you soon.